Hi guys, it's Thomas here. Thanks for joining me today. This is a follow-up video to my last rather long video about just basic beginner photography gear, and today I just want to hopefully do a quicker video on just looking at lenses for beginner photography. So if you are someone that is just entered photography and you're looking to get your first lens or maybe your second lens, or just starting to do some research and understand what lenses do different things and how they're different and what type of photography they're for, I'm gonna run through a few simple things here so that you can go out into the world, the internets as it would be, and shop. So throughout this video, I'm going to mention a few terms that if you're not familiar with them might seem a little bit daunting and be like, what is this? So in the description, I've just got a few quick definitions of things like focal length, aperture, bokeh, etc., just so that you can follow along with what I'm saying as I'm talking about these lenses. So just pop down there for a quick sec, have a look, and then come back up here. The first lens I want to talk to you about is a prime lens, the almighty prime lens. So prime lenses are called this because they have a single focal point. So something like a 24mm or a 35mm are prime lenses. These are really great starter lenses and a really great lens to just have in your kit in general because they can be used in so many different situations. They're a super versatile lens. You can take it on a trip. It's going to be lightweight, compact, and basically do everything for you unless you're super needing something else like a telephoto. So a prime lens is a really great place to start. Try and splurge a little and get as good of a prime lens as you can. And I always recommend when you're buying lenses to try and buy for the next camera, so that that lens will stay with you throughout your photography life versus just the camera that you have now. Next lens that is similar to a prime lens, and it's probably also a prime lens, but it's called a standard lens. And a standard lens is something that's generally between 24 or 35 up to about 55. And these lenses are standard because they most accurately represent the human eye and what we see out of our eyes. You might hear someone talk about a nifty 50, and that's because it sort of comes closest to representing what the human eye sees. These lenses are really great for things where you want to portray a realistic perspective. So things like street photography, interior photography as well. I find you don't want to get too wide with interiors, otherwise it gets distorted. So 24 is fine there. And just anything where you don't want to be too distorted. So yeah, a wide lens is something that is wide. To me, anything under 24mm or 24mm and under is a wide lens. You would use such a thing for landscape or interior photography to obviously get the most of your scene into your picture. Another good use for a wide lens is actually portrait photography. You can get some really creative shots with portrait photography out of a wide lens. A wide lens can go all the way down to something like 10 or 8mm. Of course, you want to be careful when you get that small because you start to get a tremendous amount of distortion. You can get wide lenses that are a thing called, I can't remember what the word is, but I'll put it up on the screen here. And that just means that it's been corrected for some of that distortion. And if you are going to get a wide lens that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 or 14mm and going to use it for something like interior photography or architecture, you want to make sure that it has this because it's going to give you the most accurate representation of what you're taking a picture of. A telephoto lens is something that is going to let you see something far away. Within the world of telephoto, we kind of have telephoto and then super telephoto. And depending on who you talk to, super telephoto starts at 200 to 300mm and above, and anything below that is a regular telephoto. A telephoto is going to be useful if you're going to be doing bird or animal photography or going to go on safari. They're not very good for up close, obviously, because they focus far away. So don't get a 300mm telephoto lens and expect to take a picture of someone standing directly in front of you. They're going to need to be halfway down the block in order for that lens to focus with a telephoto lens. I would not recommend going out and grabbing a telephoto lens unless you absolutely are going to be doing wildlife or bird photography. They tend to be very expensive, especially if you're going to get a good one. There's a lot of glass in a telephoto lens. They move, so they have to be good at various stages across that movement, which makes them more expensive. A macro lens is one that is used specifically to take close-up pictures, itty bitty little things. You will see a macro lens used for things like taking pictures of insects or jewelry sometimes as well. We'll use a macro lens. You have to be careful when getting a macro lens because they'll say 24mm or 35mm macro. You need to make sure that it says macro on the end of it because there is some special magic that goes into making it be able to focus at that very close distance for a macro lens. So don't get that macro lens and hope that it's going to do everything quite the same as a standard 35mm lens would be. Again, my recommendation here is to not run out and grab a macro lens. It's very specialized. You can get macro shots with a regular lens. You just probably need to put your camera in manual focus and take the time to focus close up manually with your lens that isn't macro, and you'll probably be okay. Until such time that you find yourself going, gosh darn, I wish I had a macro lens to take a picture of that tiny little insect. Those are just a few of the types of lenses, the majority of the types of lenses that are available to you on the market. As a beginner photographer, I would highly recommend sticking to something that is a prime lens and something that's sort of standard. So a 50, 55, or a 24 or 35mm lens are all gonna give you beautiful photos and work in a variety of situations. They also are going to be more lightweight and more compact. So as you're starting out with photography, I find it's best to not have any hindrances between you and getting out. So if you have a great big lens that's heavy and you haven't been able to play with it enough to understand and really get great photos of it, you're gonna look at that lens and go, oh, it's heavy, I don't wanna take it outside. And then you won't take it outside and you won't do anything with it. So get something small, compact, and lightweight that you can easy to go everywhere with, and that is my recommendation. For example, I'm using the Sony 24 to 70mm G Master lens on my Sony a7 III right now. And yes, that is a heavy lens, and yeah, I carry it around all the time, even when I don't think I need it, it's in my bag. But you know, this is what I do, so I kind of just have to have it with me. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you learned something. If you did, please remember to give it a big thumbs up, write a comment, tell me how much you love me, be nice, and share with your friends, family, cat, dog, antelope, whatever creature loved you. Okay, bye.